Welcome to the Unstoppable Success podcast, where we spotlight visionary leaders who have mastered the art of growth, purpose, and powerful connections. I'm your host, Jacqueline Strominger, connector, high performance coach, and creator of the Leap to Your Success framework and 2 Steps to Yes. Each week, we dive into bold insights, real conversations, and powerful strategies to fuel your growth, deepen your relationships, and ignite transformational momentum. And why? Because you were meant to be unstoppable. Now, let's leap into the podcast. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Unstoppable Success. And on this podcast, as you know, we hear from amazing leaders, people in industry, CEOs, founders, and people that have had amazing success, unstoppable success. And we get their insights, their wisdoms, their tips so that you can also have unstoppable success. And today I have the greatest pleasure to share with you Laurent Cohen. And let me just tell you a little bit about him. He is the founder and CTO of GetOblit, a voice-first AI platform helping local businesses never miss a customer call, and that's so important. With over 20 years of entrepreneurial and technical leadership across Europe and the US, he now builds AI tools that handle real phone conversations, book appointments, and capture leads automatically. He understands how to use practical AI to save time, recover missed revenue, and simplify daily operations. He is the proud father of 3, and he was born in France. And I would say you now split your time between the US, between Florida and Israel. So welcome,
Yes, Jacqueline.
Laurent.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you very much for having me, Jacqueline. And I look forward to spending the next hour with you. And I hope that by the end of the discussion, I will have helped people understanding that unstoppable success. I think it's about, and God knows a lot of people have been trying, or companies trying to stop me. But it's all about resilience. It's all about experience. And at the end of the day, I like to say it's all about problem solving.
Yeah, right. Problem solving. Whether it's a customer's problem, your problem, a client's problem, there's so many different things. But at the end of the day, we're problem solving is helping other people.
It is exactly. It's helping other people. It's just understanding them, and most of all, Jacqueline, understanding yourself.
Yeah.
You come in the business field, young, uh, full of energy, ready to devour the world, but also full of assumptions. And if you live long enough in the business realm to be still up and standing, you certainly know that all those assumptions disappear, and
Yeah.
it kind of humbles you.
Yes.
So we're going to see together how I've been humbled, and
Yeah.
now I'm proud to stand and create new things, but with all that luggage of things that I'm carrying, which are very interesting.
Right. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So to speak, right? We take the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we make it our best. But all luggage actually, so like our baggage, all serves a great purpose. So let's dive in. I'm really, really curious about this. You right now have a company, but you didn't always have a company. So tell me a little bit how you got to the point where you are right now, where you know, you don't come out of college necessarily. Maybe you did come out of college with a company.
I basically started working in the family business for a very few months. But I guess, like my father, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I knew that from a very young age. Not that I cannot comply to other people. I most certainly can comply to what anybody tells me, even my employees. I'm a listener. I'm really a listener. But I've got, you have to have this sense of adventure when you dive into entrepreneurship. You obviously people have a misassumption that they think that being an entrepreneur is all about freedom. I don't think it's about freedom. Entrepreneurship doesn't free you. And most of it, Jacqueline, uh, if you've been in business long enough, you understand that whatever your business is, you never work for yourself. You always work for someone else. I've been in the digital field for 23 years now, 24 years. And I can say that I've been working for years for Google, for Meta, for Amazon, for many people,
Right.
not myself. I was probably the second or third one. You work for your employees, but that's a good thing. I mean,
Right.
if you respect the people you're working with, they're not working for you. You're also working for them. No, entrepreneurship is not about freedom. Entrepreneurship is about adventure. It's about getting hit and going back up. It's not a fast race; it's a marathon. No,
Right.
you don't win the race in weeks or months. You win the race in years. And again, I've been blessed to do what I want all my life, constantly creating new things. But there's been highs and lows, and I think we're gonna dive into it.
Yeah. So Tamer, so what was your family's business?
Environment. It was a testing laboratory, testing water, cosmetical products, food products, many kind of testing back in France. And very quickly, I saw something that my father at that time didn't see. Basically, was focused on testing mostly water and air. And I saw that cosmetics and food were a new market. So I decided to become an entrepreneur, and he was my subcontractor for some
Oh,
point,
yeah.
for some time. Yeah. So that was the kind of agreement we had together. And what I did started to be successful, and it took its own way until 2002 when I got married. And since I was 12 and the first time I visited the US, I had the American dream right inside of me, music, movies, you name it. And I just decided to take my new wife and luggages and just take a flight to Miami, and just start again, start a new life. This was probably the most beautiful adventure I've ever lived because
Oh,
I was young. I was 32. I was 31. I was in love. I was looking to do what I loved since a young age because I'm a geek. So uh, working in the digital field. And the interesting thing was that in 2002, when I arrived, it was right after the internet bubble,
right.
if you remember that time. And at that time, it's hard to believe nowadays. And I guess for the younger people, it's unimaginable. But everybody was afraid of the internet. Nobody wanted to invest any money. Nobody wanted to work in that field. Google was just created.
Right.
When you started doing SEO and marketing, we were working with Yahoo at that time. So I saw
Yahoo, AOL,
really
right? Yahoo,
AOL,
AOL,
exactly.
right? I mean, I'm talking about dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now email were bell south, So
Right.
if we go back that back, and it was a beautiful time to create. Everything was possible, and this is something when you work in any field, and especially the digital field. I hear so many people that come to me and say, "Oh God, I'm scared. I've missed social media. I've missed SEO. I've missed SEM. I've missed everything. I always miss something. Now I'm missing AI." And I always tell them, it's like sitting at a train station. There's always another train. And actually, you used to wait 3 or 4 years for the next train. Now you wait a couple of weeks and you have a new train coming in.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just a matter of getting focused, loving what you do, diving into it, and especially nowadays with AI, you can literally learn the skill set within weeks and become a pro in your field. So as everyone is listening right now, I would say, do not be afraid of anything technological. Don't be afraid that you're missing something. If you decide to work, you'll be able to do it.
You know, Lauren, I want to repeat what you just said because that is a really important nugget, right? It's there's there's always time to do something. You're not missing. It's about whether or not you decide to jump in and focus. It's, you know, you didn't miss a bubble. You're missing opportunities if you don't take them, right? There's always that, you know, just because, you might be 65 and be like, oh, I haven't done, well, you can still do.
Ah, I have so much things to say about that. The first thing I'd like to say is that overall, whatever your age is, it's just about, and it's very easy to say, but very difficult to do, going from being passive to being active. Okay. We watch things, we see something is happening, we have ideas, but the first minutes, the first hours, the first days you dive into an idea or a project, you name it, are the toughest one. What am I going to do? Everybody wakes up in the morning with a great idea. Every single one. We all have great ideas. So now what happens? You get euphoria, with that idea. You're excited, I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to do so many things. So now let's dive into what I'm going to do it. And then you ask yourself a question, and you get a lot of assumptions, a lot of assumptions. Oh, this is what my customer is going to be. This is where I'm going to be located. This is how my website is going to look. And then you start imagining that and start building and building and building. But what I have to say, Jacqueline, is at that moment in time, you do not have a company yet. It's not because you are creating a product that you have a company. It's not because you are getting a list that you have a company. The day you have a company is the day you know who your customers are.
Mhm.
And this is insane because right now I'm working in AI and people think, well, AI is changing the world. They will replace humans. And I feel the contrary. They're not going to replace human for the simple fact that as now, if you want to sell something, only a human can buy it. You're not selling to AI. AI is a tool. AI enhances you. And now AI makes you a better worker, sometimes even a better human, I'd say.
Right.
In my case, I guess it is. It makes you, it gives you like superpower. You need less resources. You need less time to build. You're able to dig into subject that you wouldn't have dreamt of 2 years ago. You acquire knowledge. But at the end of the day, you are selling something to someone, not to something. And if you keep that in mind, you see that at the end of the day, nothing changes. It was like this probably 1,000 years ago. It was like this 20 years ago. It was like this 5 years ago. You know, so when you start to decide that, okay, now I've got a business, I'm passing the euphoria. I'm getting serious. See who your customers are. Talk to people. Talk to 100 people that are potentially your customers. Have a discussion with them. Would you buy my product? Do you think the color is good? Do you think the button is good there if you're online? Ask questions, get feedback, and put all those assumptions in the trash. Just be, open yourself to receive as many information as you get. Because believe it, Jacqueline, the day you start working and really getting active into your field, you see that not only you put those assumptions in trash, but you learn new things every day. You get new customers every day that give you new feedbacks. And it's not about pivoting, it's about just adjusting constantly. And that is a human thing. Adjusting is human. Machines don't adjust. Machines just deliver. As women, we adjust. And this is the main quality that we need in business. And this is why AI will not replace us. Now, because I'm a talker too,
Right.
the other thing that was very interesting that you mentioned, Jacqueline, you said you can be 65 and work. Uh, I had a discussion with my partner the other day, and we're living in a fabulous world. And the reason is 5, 10, 15 years ago, the young guns were the king, right? You're a coder, you're young, you're beautiful. You go to see a VC, you say, I have that idea, give me $10 million. And it worked, apparently. And when you get older, there was a tendency for people to discard you because, well, you're a bit too old for this, you're a bit too old for that. But now things are changing. The game has leveled because of AI. Coders are not worth anything anymore because AI can replace them. But when it comes to problem solving, only people with experience can solve problem. And who are the people with experience, Jacqueline? Us. At
Us,
least myself, at least.
right, right. We're not far apart in age, right?
I don't know exactly your age, Jacqueline, but we're
I got a
mature.
couple
That's
of
what
years on you. I got a couple of years on you, but it's very true. It's very true. It's like, you know, again, key nuggets. AI is not going to replace a human in all things, right? It might replace the coder, but you still need someone to actually be able to look at what it's coding and be able to actually um, dissect and look at and use the code to actually take it to something, right? You need to be able to use the code to problem solve and know how to actually be a top-down thinker, right? Like to think, to think strategically. And people with experience know how to do that because they've done it. We've done it for years, right? And it actually gives us, I think, an edge over somebody else who thinks that AI can think for them, right? No, AI cannot think for you. You have to think, right? It's the tool, right?
this is constantly what I'm working on daily basis with AI. I work with AI all day long now. Okay, there's not a single thing that I do not do with AI because this is my sidekick. This is not even a machine for me. This is my employee. I treat it like a human resources. I just engage with it. When I'm upset, I tell the AI. When I'm happy, I tell the AI too. But at the end of the day, it's constantly providing judgment on what the AI gives you. You have to have judgment, because if you let the AI guide you all the way, you're gonna hit a wall. That I can tell you for sure. I've been through that. So you apply judgment, and again, judgment comes with experience most of the time, you know. And then also something that is very important, and I'm circling back to what I said earlier about missing the train. I hear a lot of people saying, I'm on social media all day. There's so much new application, so much new products. I don't know what to do. I'm wasting my day just browsing and seeing those applications. And I get overwhelmed with all that information. Well, Jacqueline, I don't do that anymore. The reason is, as much as I use AI, the new tool doesn't dictate what I'm going to do with my day. Again, my customer dictates what I'm going to do with my day. And if my customer says, I need this, then I'm going to say, how can I do that for my customer? And then what do? I turn to AI and I say, hey, my customer needs that. Let's build it together. And then the AI might say, you have this new tool, you search that or you find this, and then you apply this new tool or not. But at the end of the day, the basic foundation of the company is focusing on the customer, focusing on the need, and then going toward AI to find a solution.
Right. It's so true what you said, and I think that's really important. It's using it as a tool to find the solution. You shouldn't be wasting your time just because, yeah, there's always new things coming out, but whether or not it's right for you, it's going to dictate and be based on what your personal needs are or your company needs are, not just to jump into something because it's new, right? It has to be purposeful to jump into it. Is it useful for your business, your client? And then you need to be the one searching for it, not be the one that's not being pushed upon it. Like, you know what I mean? So,
It's exactly the same as what we said earlier when you start a company, but you're not really starting. I know people that have been building things for years, literally, but never dived into what the real thing is. You can always have a better website, you can always have a better product, but by the time you think you are close to finish, then because you're afraid of diving, maybe, I don't know, you say, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do that again. I remember vividly that guy I met uh, 15 years ago. He had this cool idea about selling cars online. I was not really pro that idea, but anyways, and the thing is that he had resources, financial resources. And I remember he was his kids were at my kids' school. So I was seeing him every once in a while, and he always talked to me about this project. And he was always showing me the latest beta version of his app. And this lasted for maybe 7 years. And after already a couple of years, I was like, okay, this guy is not going anywhere. And he never came out with his product solution because I think some people like the idea of being an entrepreneur, but do not like being entrepreneurs because
Right.
entrepreneurs is not fun.
Right.
Building a company is not fun.
Right.
Imagining a company is very fun. Yeah, that I agree with you.
Right. Yeah.
Living in a dream is beautiful, but going through the details of what building a
Being
company and working with people is different.
right. Being an entrepreneur, the one thing that is really important to know and no matter where you are in your success journey, because it is a journey, it does take discipline and it takes focus. And I just shared this the other day. Like I said to I have a brand new platform on school, the platform school, and I was speaking with somebody about the platform, and I said I have like 15 people. Wow, yay, 15 members. I haven't really done much to actually go after and or to share it with a lot of people. But one of the things that I said was, we were talking, and I said, um, I have been doing this company was supposed to work with me on building out the school community, and I said I haven't even had a chance to look at anything because I need to focus. Like I need to focus on what's right for me right now in my business, and this is not like yes, it's something that I want to do, but you have to be able to look at your day and look at your week and look at your month and say, what are the things that I really need to put my attention on to build and focus on, and to have that unstoppable success you need to be able to say no to things. You know, no is a complete sentence, right? Say no to the things that don't matter. Now, I want to talk about your success right now with your the AI voice get public, right? I'm curious about something because I was like how does this work and how do you deal with any of like the frustrations like I think about like how does it compare to when I call American Express and I'm trying to get through and it's like please enter your 15-digit card number. I just want to speak to a representative and I'm like right? So how is yours amazing?
First of all, we very quickly understand that we were not literally creating or selling voice AI. Again, Jacqueline, voice AI is the tool that we're providing. But what we need to sell is a trust product.
Hmm.
Why? For the simple reason that someone, I think that was Edison, right? 120 years ago, created this crazy invention called the phone. And the
Yeah.
phone has this thing where you go to a store, you pay for a subscription, someone gives you 10 digits. And from that moment on, anybody, anywhere, at any time, type could cause disruption in your life. It's insane. You get a phone call. Who likes the phone? Everybody hates the phone. We all need it. It's very practical, but we do not
Yeah.
like the phone. At least professionally.
Yeah.
This is there's always a call at the wrong time. So this was it forever. Then we had the voicemail, but the voicemail was asynchronized. And in that time and days we've been living for the past 20 years, asynchronization, is lost revenue. If you don't answer immediately, the user is going to call someone else. Then you had chatbots. Chatbots are cool. They provide question, but they don't convey emotion. You know, you have to understand, especially small and local businesses, have been built for years over the trust that the business owner creates with the customers. And this trust is conveyed by the voice. Either it's face to face or over the phone. You create a trust. And this bound that you have, is not something to take lightly. You, it's been built for years. So now
Right.
we have this voice AI that's a tool that can take over the phone elegantly with patience 24/7. Now it can even detect emotion. So let's say a customer is upset, the AI will detect the emotion and will respond accordingly, which is amazing, right? But from that standpoint, with all those beautiful technology, you still have the trust that the business owner has built. And as someone that is providing AI voice service, I value the trust and I need to protect that trust. And the only way to protect that trust is within three things. First, the quality of the data that we have. We need to know about the business. We need to know what's the history of the business, how it has been built, and we need to have this relationship with the business. So those information are used to train the voice AI. Then you have to have what we call the guardrails. You need to protect what the AI say. The idea of the voice AI is to let you go to bed and to your family in peace, not to stress about how the AI is going to respond when you're not there. So you have to have guardrails. Then the third thing that's very important is the fallback, because as good as voice AI can be, if there's an emergency, if there's an important message, voice AI need to be able to transfer at the right time to the business owner. Now, those three things might seem simple, but they are really the core of how we built our company. What we like to say is that, some people look at the stars, we look at the instruments. And I think beyond our company, a lot of people should think about that when they're creating a new business. It's easy to say, oh, look how fancy the voice is. Look, it is a beautiful woman voice, it's smooth and silky. But at the end of the day, does it have guardrails? Does it have fallback? Does it have data? That's looking at the instruments. That's not looking at the stars, like a
Right,
pilot would do.
right, right. So when you're, with your, um, business, walk me through, is it in an, is it both, is it outbound or mostly inbound?
So at this time, it's only inbound,
Okay.
simply because the AI, voice AI is a very new technology, right? And as today, telecommunication company are not very comfortable with voice AI. So if you take over, again, it's all about trust. If you take over the voice channel for a business and that the voice starts calling customers, it can create friction with telecom company. So as now, we're not ready. And again, I will insist on that. It's all about trust. You don't want to do that right now until telecommunication is good with voice AI. Now, what's interesting with our product and we've tried to do, remember when I say that our obsession, and I think by now you know it is trust. What we did is we created 1.8 billion listings for businesses and we deployed as many voice AI. So we have 1.8 million voice AI. And actually, anybody that is not listed yet on that directory can go create its own listing for his business. And the voice AI will be deployed within minutes. What does it imply? It implies that the business can literally, within minutes, for free, have a voice AI working on that directory. He can test it. He can send his customer there. And if he is satisfied with the solution, then he can subscribe to the product and have a virtual line, a voice AI linked to the virtual line, and a widget that he can put on his own website. So again, in order to build trust, and that's always what I say to other people that are building company, have your customer try it before. Make sure they have the product in front of them. So they won't be surprised. And if they're not surprised, they'll be happy and they won't churn.
Yeah. You know, I actually, I love that you're building that, right? Because it's actually, creating a directory like that, for people to be able to have their, a business listing. It's so I'm like I'm going old school, right? So, your yellow pages, right? Your white pages, right? So you could search for a business, but it would be really interesting to be able to have somebody be able to click on it and hear and see about the business and have that connection in a call, bring people to certain places, have a call, being able to have a telephone number on your website where people can actually dial in and hear a voice.
That's exactly what it is. And also one thing that is very interesting and that's also changed a lot against the assumption that we had initially. When we first started, we say, okay, we're gonna create those voice AI, business gonna found us, and then they're gonna buy our service. But we found that the most important thing was really not that. It was that as we grew and we grew quite fast, a lot of people were using our platform on a daily basis, users. And all those people using were as many information that we could gather about customers and business relationships. And when used and properly trained for our data, they feed back the overall agents, which make them in turn even more intelligent.
Right.
So as many people use our platform, as better the AI is. And that's something that our competition cannot do yet because they are only providing voice AI to X, Y, and Z company. We are serving 1.8 million businesses. As now, we have hundreds of minutes per day of discussion that we use to make our AI smarter. And that's, I think, is quite interesting and differentiate us from the competition.
Yeah, no, it is because it does it. When, the as we've shared, the biggest thing about AI, it's a tool. You need to feed it information for it to actually learn, and the more it can learn, but it needs accurate data. It needs accurate information to actually be able to pull out accurate information, right? To be able to learn intelligently.
This is exactly it. Another assumption, Jacqueline. We thought initially that we would be prompting all day. Actually, we
Mhm.
don't prompt much because the more you get into AI, the more you understand that prompting needs to be very lean, very light in order to let the AI breathe. What feeds the LLM and the agents are the data. And now again, we're not doing AI anymore. Data are data. Data are servers, are Excel files, are CSVs, everything. And you use those data. You put them every day in order. You do a lot of things with data. And that's really the core of our business nowadays. We
Right.
spend our days creating data and implementing data.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. So I'm curious. So what do you feel is next on your list, like with the company, and where do you see, you know, because success is always growth, right? So where do you see your next growth coming from?
Um, well, we're constantly
Mm.
having new companies listed. So that's one thing. We're expanding internationally. Within the next 6 months, we are going to expand to Europe and South America. So this is exactly how we define our business. But we also, keeping the door open to new things. For instance, we think that the further we go down the line, the more voice. Today we are a voice first company. We probably sometime will be a voice only company. And that's very exciting. So right now we're heavily working, for instance, on the voice search. So now you can call our agents and you can ask, find a hairdresser near me, or is there a pet groomer salon open now? And those things, believe it or not, Google, which is awesome and beautiful and a great company, does not do that very well. If you go to Gemini, if you go to ChatGPT and you ask them, do you have a chiropractor open now? And can I book an appointment? It won't do it for you. You see? So it's very exciting when you think about it that you're entering something. And remember what we said earlier, Jacqueline. We said, no, the next train. Well, there's a huge train, here. A lot of exciting things to be done. And it's very hard to imagine that all those big company at the end of the day left all this voice channel which was kind of discarded, and nobody wanted this one. Everything was digital. Now we write, we don't do anything else. Well, Elon Musk is building robots, and within 10 years when you're going to meet one of those robots in the street, you're going to talk to him, you're not going to type.
Right,
So
right. That's right. Right.
the interaction, the voice interaction is going to get even more important. And if you master that and you apply it today to a directory, you can apply it to any other part of the economy. So that's very interesting.
Okay, so now you're
And
just
that's
having
also
me thinking. I'm thinking about
the other
Jetsons,
thing I
like the
want.
Jetsons, the Jetsons, right? Anyway.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I remember that exactly. And also the very interesting that I want to share with you is that we're helping mostly small business and local businesses, and voice AI is really leveling the game for them because it gives them access to customer tools that they wouldn't have dreamt of 5 years ago. That were only accessible for medium and large company. Multi-language handling. Voice AI can speak up to 8 languages now. You can see if someone speaks Portuguese, we insert Portuguese, and you can jump into Italian or German or French, you name it. So that's very interesting. Then it's open 24/7. It answers 24/7. Those things, or just having a receptionist in a small business was not something they could afford. Now
Right.
they can. So it's leveling up the game. And once the games get leveled up, what does it do? It leaves time for the small business to grow. So circling back again to what we said earlier about AI will not replace us, not only it's not replacing us, but it will create growth, wealth, which in turn will allow us to hire more people, you know? So it's all good.
That is all good. That is all good. I totally love what you are doing. And I love that where you have, the success you have. Now, I have to go back to something that we were talking about before we got on the podcast. And because I want our listeners to hear what you said about, the different places that you lived. And I thought it was really, really interesting. Because you said, you grew up in Europe where you really learned, you know, it's like attention to detail, right?
Yes,
Mastering, like
exactly.
it's like mastering.
Uh,
And I think of craftsmanship, right? The beautiful, beautiful buildings that you see in Europe and the amount of time that it took to craft. And then you move to the US, right? And you said you learned more efficiency, right? And then in
exactly.
Israel, you're learning it was all about speed,
Urgency.
urgency.
Exactly. This is we had the chance to discuss a little bit earlier, and I was telling you that's my wealth.
Right.
That's
It is.
how I account for. At the end of the day, this is what makes me and what I'm the most proud of. Being able to travel to meet people from all over the world. And yes, when you're born and raised in Europe, uh, you learn detail about history. You learn detail about architecture. You spend time doing stuff. You don't rush into things. And so it gives you a sense of attention to details. Then you bring that attention to details and you go to America and they say, okay, now you need to be efficient. So yeah, but I like to be attention to detail. So, okay, let's do it together. So now I'm going to be efficient and I'm going to bring attention to details. And then you open an office in Israel and here you have a state of urgency because, you need to go to a shelter maybe in 1 hour. So you, you, you work with that urgency. But again, you don't put aside the craftsmanship. You don't put aside the efficiency. You just adjust. Again, remember, Jacqueline, it's always about adjustments in everything you say. And when it's like juggling between things. When you balance those three things, I think you get very interesting results. So if anyone is listening and doesn't have or didn't have the opportunity to travel, that's fine. That's fine. Just think about it. Think about craftsmanship when you're too speedy. Think about efficiency when you take too much of your time. Think about urgency when you're laid back. There's always something to put in perspective, and if you have that within you, it comes naturally. But if you don't have within you, it doesn't mean you cannot do it. So
Right.
those three things are part of what can create a good entrepreneur, I think.
I absolutely love that. And I'm looking at the diagram, and that cross section between all three of those gives you unstoppable success. I think that's where, yeah. So, everybody, so Lauren, how can people connect with you and learn more about what you were doing and also dive into your deep wisdom because you have quite a bit?
Well, first of all, I love to share. Now people know it, so they can just get to our directory at getuplit.com. They go to the footer. We have all sorts of websites that they can go on, send messages, and if they send a message to Lawrence, I'll make sure I read them and I reply to them. They can ask any question. They need help. They need a little bit of a push. I'll be more than happy to do that. So getupdate.com, go to visit the website. You can also send a message, and I'll be more than happy to help anyone. And
All
if
right.
anyone wants to test drive what a voice AI is for free, they can just create a listing, and within a minute they will have a voice AI and they can see how it works.
That is absolutely fantastic. So, listeners, please do me the favor of going and connecting with Lauren. I am going to put all of his links in the show notes so you will see them all there. And then I need you to do me another favor. Two things. One is I'm putting the link to our brand new school community, Unstoppable Success, in the show notes. Please go there and subscribe. And then also share this podcast with any business owner, CEO, entrepreneur that you know so that they can get on this great new product and be part of the directory because it is really important. Trust me, it will help your business. And I know this is information that your colleagues need to hear and listen to. I'm Jacqueline Strominger. This is the Unstoppable Success Podcast. Thank you all for listening. And thank you, Lauren, for being an amazing guest.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Unstoppable Success Podcast, where we don't just talk about growth, we leap toward it. If something today lit a fire within you, sparked a new idea, or gave you the extra push forward, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode and podcast with a friend, colleague, or fellow high achiever. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and most importantly, connect with me, Jacqueline Strominger, at leaptoyoursuccess.com for coaching, community, and your next bold move. Keep leading with intention, keep building your network with purpose, and most of all, keep leaping because you were meant to be unstoppable.